At school, Kodaka was always mistaken for a delinquent. Even when he was just reading in the library, other students were too scared to come near him. They assumed he would beat them up if they got too close. As usual, once class was over, Kodaka headed to the neighbor's club room. When he opened the door, he saw Sana wearing a bald wig. Kodaka quickly shut the door and said he had walked into the wrong room. Sana ran after him and asked what he thought of her new look. She seemed confused and asked why he did not laugh. She reminded him that the day before, they had talked about how making people laugh could help them make friends. That was why she wore the bald wig. According to the label at the toy store, the wig was supposed to make people laugh uncontrollably. Suddenly, Yozora walked in wearing a wig and dressed up like Sana. She said Sana had never managed to make anyone laugh. Kodaka was puzzled by Yozora's appearance. Yozora said she was dressed as a ridiculous creature from Earth and asked if it was enough to make him laugh. Kodaka just stayed silent. Then Yozora wrote the word meat on her forehead and mocked Sana's voice, saying she was a rich and beautiful girl. Sana said that was not how she talked, and she did not understand what about her was supposed to be funny. Instead of being amusing, it was actually pretty irritating. Yozora replied that seeing Sana irritated like that made her feel happy. Kodaka asked if Yozora was not embarrassed to look like that. Yozora and Sana both turned to look in the mirror. Kodaka commented that a real comedian would never rely on something that lame. Yozora then challenged him to show what a real comedy act looked like. According to Kodaka, a true comedian came up with original stories, so he started telling one called I Am Scared of Manju Cakes. Unfortunately, once he finished, everyone just called the story boring. Rika joined them in the club room and said that funny people could easily become popular. As usual, Yukimura served tea, hoping to hear a funny story from Kodaka. But Sana and Yozora both advised her not to expect too much. Kodaka insisted his story was still better than Sana and Yozora's wig stunt. Yozora mentioned hearing about a hairstyle that was trending lately, the teased look where hair is combed upwards and then decorated. Sana got interested right away. Rika added that according to the internet, that style gave off a European noble vibe or something along those lines. Sana thought it would probably suit her well. Rika even said that there were people so grand they shaped their hair into bird nests so birds could live in them, or even molded their hair into love letters. Sana was surprised and asked if that kind of thing only happened in the samurai era. Rika explained that it was just a way of expressing oneself, similar in concept to how samurai helmets were made. Yukimura asked if that meant T's hair was like a samurai helmet, something that showed identity if their head got cut off, so they would be respected, honored, and remembered like true samurai. Kodaka did not think it worked that way. Sana started feeling something was off, and Yozora seemed to agree. She said it would be hard for a group of people to style their hair that way, so it would be pointless for commoners to try it. According to Yozora, regular people would just stick to basic hairstyles used by lower social classes. She says she hoped to see the T's style in person someday. Rika said it was extremely rare to find someone who was born with a natural noble aura and a personality charming enough to pull off the T's look. Kodaka realized that Yozora and Rika were clearly trying to bait Sana, and it worked. Sana took the bait. She insisted that such a person did exist, and that she was the only one who truly pulled off a hairstyle like that. Yozora told her not to force it, especially since T's hair was notoriously hard to work with. Sana said she was not trying to force anything. She believed that no matter how complicated the hairstyle might be, nothing could outshine her divine aura. Kodaka could not understand why that particular fish always bit the bait so easily. Yozora said that if Sana really was forcing things, then she and Rika would immediately start backcombing her hair. Sana got ready to have her hairstyle changed by Yozora and Rika. Before they started, she asked them not to do anything weird. Yozora began brushing Sana's hair. Sana admitted that it felt kind of nice having another girl brush her hair. Rika commented that Sana's hair was smooth and soft and even the ends were not split. Just for that day, Yozora complimented Sana's hair. Sana responded by saying that Yozora's hair was beautiful too, and she added that Rika's hair was shiny and also pretty. Yozora then asked if Sana had any requests before they started teasing her hair. Sana asked for a hairstyle that popular girls would wear. Yozora started thinking about what was trendy and said, summer. Rika suggested adding elements that represented what people liked the most during summer, like incorporating beach waves with curly hair. Yozora agreed and even wanted to add a swirling water accent using rolled sausages. Rika wanted to give it a summer storm vibe by adding a few waves to the overall look. Rika then asked Sana what she thought about the idea, and Sana said it was not bad. Yozora suggested making a hill with a beach on top of it. Things got even more ridiculous when Rika proposed replacing the hair ribbons with a bikini, and Yozora went further by wanting to add watermelon and fireworks. Sana was shocked when she realized they seriously wanted to include a watermelon, a bikini, and even yakisoba in her hair. She started to panic, but Yozora and Rika told her to stay still. Yukimura quickly went to get the watermelon, the bikini, and the yakisoba. At that point, Sana turned to Kodaka for help, but he completely ignored her. Meanwhile, Maria was outside playing in the yard. When someone called out to her, she immediately started doing her assigned task of mowing the grass. When she looked up, she saw that it was Yukimura approaching. Yukimura asked what Maria was doing. Maria said she was cleaning the yard as a punishment for slacking off earlier. Yukimura was there because Sana had asked her to get something. Maria assumed it was probably something related to summer. She handed over a few bugs she had managed to catch. Back in the club room, Yozora and Rika finally finished creating a new hairstyle for Sana. Yozora called her the fiercely backcombed Storm Queen, the most popular girl in A Midsummer Night's Dream. The hairstyle was so outrageous that it even felt heavy on her head. Kodaka thought the two of them were being way too cruel. Yozora and Rika insisted that the hairstyle looked great and made Sana seem elegant. Sana asked if it really suited her. Yukimura said it definitely did. It was not only elegant, but also deeply moving. Yozora even admitted to feeling jealous and said she should have backcombed it herself before cutting her own hair. Sana then asked Kodaka what he thought. Kodaka told her the hairstyle really suited her. The next day, Sana told Kodaka that her father had been furious with her and ended up spanking her before undoing the hairstyle. Later on, when they were in the club room, Rika and Yozora apologized to Sana for going too far. Sana was still upset and stormed off. Yozora felt like the club activities were not going very well. While at the library, Kodaka received a message from Sana asking why he was not in the club room. Kodaka replied and told her that he was studying for the exams. Sana told Kodaka to head to the club room right away because only she and Yukimura were there. Just as Kodaka was about to go, Sana said he did not need to come after all, since Kobato had already arrived. Not long after, Kobato called him and asked for help. Sana could be heard chasing Kobato around. The commotion was loud enough that people nearby started to think it was a kidnapping. That night, while Kodaka was studying, Sana messaged him to ask whether he was confident about the upcoming exam. She then invited him to come study at her house. Kodaka agreed, especially since Sana had the highest grades in their year. The next day, he told Kobato that he would be going to Sana's house that afternoon to study for the exams and asked if she wanted to come along. Kobato was shocked and told him not to worry about her. She said Sana was scary. When Kodaka arrived at Sana's house, he was surprised to see her father, Pegasus, already waiting for him at the gate. Sana came out to greet him and Pegasus politely let them go study. Sana then asked if her father had finished talking to him. Apparently, Pegasus asked about Kodaka every day, which made Sana think her father wanted to have a proper conversation with him. Pegasus claimed he was simply doing his duty by keeping an eye on Kodaka. Kodaka, however, could not understand the way Pegasus thought. Sana brought Kodaka to her room to study. As soon as they got there, Kodaka was shocked to see the ceiling completely covered with photos of Yozora's face. Sana had secretly taken all the photos herself using a digital camera while Yozora was off guard. Kodaka thought she looked like a creepy stalker and asked why she would do something like that. Sana even showed him the wig Yozora had worn back then. She said that when someone holds a grudge, they have to endure it. Kodaka suddenly remembered a story about someone who slept on a tree branch or licked a gallbladder every day, just to keep their anger alive until they could get revenge. Sana said maybe she was kind of like that. She admitted to staring at Yozora's photo every night, smelling the wig she had worn and remembering what Yozora did to her to fuel her drive for revenge. Sana made it clear that she would definitely get back at her. Kodaka had not expected Sana to be this intense. She was far scarier than he had imagined. While they were studying, Kodaka accidentally glanced at Sana's chest. He asked her how to answer one of the questions, but he could not concentrate because of the distraction. Sana called him stupid for not being able to solve it, which made him decide to try answering it on his own. Not long after, Stella came in and brought them some snacks. She greeted Kodaka, asked how things were going, and then handed him a condom. Kodaka was stunned. After Stella left the room, Sana asked what she had given him. Kodaka did not say, and Sana tried to snatch it from him. In the process, he accidentally caught a glimpse of her cleavage, which Sana immediately noticed and was not happy about. Sana admitted that she felt too lazy to continue studying and ended up asking Kodaka to hang out instead. She invited him to play Iron Necromancer, a game she had just bought. She knew that Kobato really liked the anime version, and although she had already purchased the full set of Blu-ray discs, she had not watched them yet. She planned to watch it together with Kobato. Kodaka felt relieved that Kobato had not come along to Sana's house. Sana managed to win the game easily. In fact, that was her 10th consecutive win. Kodaka was surprised considering she did not know how to play at all when they first started. Sana said she was good at everything. Time passed quickly, and before they realized it, the day was already turning into evening, yet they had not studied at all. Just as Kodaka was about to head home, Sela appeared and said that dinner was ready. Sana then invited him to join them for dinner. After dinner, Kodaka got up to say goodbye, but Pegasus asked him to spend the night. Kodaka could not bring himself to refuse. He quickly sent a message to Kobato, telling her to either heat up one of the frozen meals in the fridge or make instant noodles for dinner. At that moment, Kobato was happily singing to herself. After eating, Kodaka decided to take a bath. Not long after, Pegasus showed up, saying that he wanted to scrub Kodaka's back. Kodaka politely declined, saying there was no need, but Pegasus insisted that he should not be shy. Pegasus shared that back when Hayato was still around, he used to take the initiative to lather up the soap and sit behind him. As he scrubbed Kodaka's back, Pegasus asked how it felt. Kodaka said it felt just right. That moment reminded Pegasus of the first time he and Hayato been together. Pegasus then brought up the fact that Sana had come home from school the day before with fried squid and yakisoba in her hair. He asked if Sana was often picked on at school. Sana had told him that hairstyle suited her best, and in the end, Pegasus had given her a punishment. Pegasus also noticed that such a hairstyle did not exist, which confused him, especially since Sana usually held herself with pride. He started to worry, but Sana told him she had done it by her own choice. Kodaka asked whether Pegasus had seen the state of Sana's room recently. It turned out that Sana had not allowed Pegasus near her room since she started high school, and he thought that was normal. Kodaka wanted to say that it seemed like Sana was turning into a pervy stalker-type girl, but he knew he could never say something like that out loud. Instead, he told Pegasus that Sana had never been bullied by her classmates. Kodaka also promised that he would protect Sana if anyone ever tried to mess with her. Pegasus said he would entrust Sana to Kodaka, though it felt like there was a deeper meaning behind his words. At that moment, Kodaka still did not realize he was already caught in a situation he would not be able to walk away from. That night, before falling asleep, Sana, as usual, imagined Yozora's face while kissing Yozora's wig as a way to fuel her feelings of revenge. That day, as usual, Kodaka headed to the neighbor's clubroom after class. He was surprised to see a girl he didn't recognize. When she greeted him, he finally realized it was Rika. She had let her hair down and wasn't wearing her glasses. Kodaka asked about her glasses, and Rika explained that she just wanted to change things up a bit and see if people viewed her differently without them. When Kodaka asked if she was wearing contact lenses, Rika told him that her glasses had always been fake. She didn't actually have any vision problems and only wore them as a fashion choice. Kodaka never expected Rika to talk about fashion at all. She then asked what he thought of her current look. Kodaka felt like she had transformed like a wildflower blooming on a hillside. If he had to choose, he would say her look without glasses matched his taste more. Without realizing it, Kodaka had accidentally said those thoughts out loud. Rika immediately blushed. Yozora, clearly annoyed, stomped on Kodaka's foot. Sana and Yukimura didn't look too happy either. Meanwhile, Rika laughed at Kodaka's reaction. Rika hadn't expected Kodaka to think of her that way, and then, in her usual bold manner, she invited him to do something inappropriate with her. Kodaka flatly rejected the idea. Rika quickly apologized, realizing that what she said had been rude. She then tried to rephrase her words more politely, but the soft tone still ended up suggesting the same thing. Kodaka sighed and asked why it had to be Rika, of all people, who acted like that. Rika was shocked by how disappointed he sounded. It nearly brought her to tears. Kodaka ignored her and chose to focus on studying instead. Rika couldn't believe how heartless he was, completely disregarding her hurt feelings, but strangely, that coldness only seemed to excite her more. Deciding she needed a break from reality, she thought it might be best to escape into the two-dimensional world. Rika asked Sana for permission to use her TV so she could watch an anime she had just bought. The anime was titled Gay Game Club. Yozora immediately smacked Rika in the face and demanded to know what kind of inappropriate material she was planning to watch in the clubroom. Rika insisted it wasn't anything indecent. She explained that although the show was based on a romantic game between men, the adult scenes had been removed in the anime adaptation, making it suitable even for kids. While it did have a few sensual moments on screen, she said it was still safe for all ages. Yozora, unconvinced, asked who would even care about that. Rika replied that she cared and even showed Yozora that the disc had no 17+ rating on it. Yozora argued that even without the label, the title and cover alone were already suspicious. Rika countered that things shouldn't be judged just by appearances. Kodaka agreed with Rika. He said that before criticizing something, it's better to take a closer look at what's inside. Judging based only on appearances could really hurt someone. Rika was touched and said that Kodaka was amazing. She invited Yozora to watch the anime with her, explaining that the scenes had been re-edited and some new ones were added, so even first-time viewers could easily follow the story. In the end, everyone ended up watching the anime together. The first scene featured Koyomi inviting Fumio to try out a Gaiden game. At first, Fumio wasn't interested, but after watching a bit, he changed his mind and decided to give it a try. Fumio's friends were shocked that their game hadn't sold a single copy. However, Fumio got upset and hit one of them, saying that sales numbers didn't matter to him. The climax came when an antagonist tried to destroy the Gaiden club, and Koyomi refused to let that happen. He stood his ground, ready to protect the club. The ending was unexpectedly emotional, with Koyomi declaring that even if the whole world turned against him, he would always protect Fumio. To everyone's surprise, both Sena and Yozora ended up in tears because of the anime's touching story. Rika asked Yozora what she thought of it, and Yozora admitted that it was actually pretty good. But just as the credits were about to roll, an unexpected twist came. Koyomi and Fumio shared a kiss. That scene left everyone stunned. Without realizing it, 2 hours had already passed. Yukimura commented that the show was surprisingly good. Yozora then asked Rika why Koyomi and Fumio kissed at the end. Rika explained that once the two characters had truly understood each other's feelings, it was only natural for them to share a kiss. Yozora was puzzled, especially since Koyomi and Fumio were just friends. According to Rika, it was simply because Koyomi and Fumio were human. Yozora questioned whether it was normal to do such things with a friend, but Rika didn't think it was strange at all. She said that when emotions come into play, it's only natural for the body to follow, even if it's between friends or even between two guys. So if they genuinely liked each other, it would make sense for them to just kiss and even do intimate things, because, as Rika put it, that's just nature taking its course. Kodaka responded that it wasn't okay to casually bring up guys doing things together as if it were totally normal. That made Yozora realize for the first time that even friends could kiss. She immediately turned to look at Kodaka. Yozora admitted that she had misunderstood the anime. Rika asked if that meant Yozora's interest in homo content had finally been awakened. Yozora quickly denied it, saying she only thought the club's homo-themed game anime wasn't bad. Rika was excited to hear that someone actually enjoyed it. Yozora even told Rika not to hesitate to show her other similar anime if she had any. Rika was thrilled to have finally found someone who shared her taste, but she reminded herself not to mess things up in a moment like that. Stena, however, thought the anime wasn't suitable for all ages. She was confused by the fact that Yozora had once called her gal games perverted and disgusting, yet seemed to accept the homo-themed anime from Rika without hesitation. Yozora told Sana not to compare a story about male friendship to some dumb game focused on poking and prodding women. That really got on Sana's nerves. She felt insulted that Yozora had dissed her gal game. Yozora then asked if Sana had the guts to read aloud the scene she was playing. She pointed out how inappropriate the dialogue was and claimed that she herself could read any scene from the Homo Club anime because, in her opinion, it was a piece of high art. Sena challenged her to do it. Yozora read one of the scenes out loud, and the dialogue turned out to be surprisingly well written. Sena flipped through to find another one, but they all still sounded impressive. Kodaka couldn't believe Yozora actually remembered every line of the scenes. Yozora said it was Sena's turn now. If there was really nothing embarrassing in her gal game, then she should have no problem reading a scene aloud. Sena went quiet, but Yozora kept pushing her. Eventually, Sena gave in and agreed to read it just like Yozora did. She read the gal game scene in a low voice and hesitated when she came across inappropriate words. Yozora urged her to read it loudly, clearly, and with emotion. So Sena read it out loud, even including the inappropriate terms, and Kodaka was genuinely surprised that she actually went through with it. Sena declared that Yozora couldn't keep pushing her around forever. Yozora was stunned by how extreme the gal game dialogue turned out to be. Sena asked, wasn't it true that there was absolutely nothing to be ashamed of in the game? Yozora admitted defeat and acknowledged that Sena had won, though she also said she didn't want to look at her right now. Rika commented that the scene they had just heard was a bit much for her, and even Yukimura confessed that she hadn't realized Sena could be that suggestive. Yozora said she finally understood why Sena liked that game and apologized for making fun of her. Sena was shocked and immediately ran off, but not before snapping at Yozora and calling her a perverted game freak. That same day, Kodaka had just finished his exams and was walking across the schoolyard when a girl dressed as a nun called out to him, referring to him as a lost little lamb. Kodaka ignored her. The girl called out again, saying that ignoring a servant of God was practically a sin. Kodaka turned and asked if she was actually talking to him. She laughed and offered to listen if he had anything on his mind, saying she was a sister and it was her job to help. She said she understood that life was full of problems, so many that perhaps that was why Kodaka had turned into a delinquent and dyed his hair. Kodaka clarified that his hair was naturally that color. She apologized for stopping him, but told him that if he ever needed someone to talk to, he should feel free to come to the counseling room. The girl introduced herself as Kate and told Kodaka to call her either big sister or mom. Suddenly, Maria shouted out and called Kodaka her big brother, then ran up and hugged him. Kodaka asked if Maria knew Kate. Maria was shocked and screamed, asking why the old hag was talking with Kodaka. Kate got annoyed and immediately tugged Maria's ear for calling her an old lady. It turned out that Kate was Maria's older sister, and she ordered Maria to call her beloved big sister. Maria, clearly in pain, apologized and Kate let her go. Kate assumed that the guy in front of her was Kodaka. She mentioned that she had heard a lot about him from Maria. She also introduced herself again as Maria's older sister. Just as Kodaka had seen, she admitted that Maria was a pretty clueless little sister, but she thanked him for taking care of her. Maria then said that Kodaka would always be her big brother whether Kate asked him to or not, and walked away. Kate yelled at Maria to do her job properly, but Maria loudly shouted back that she didn't want to. Kate was confused by how her little sister could be that clueless, but she was still grateful to Kodaka and the other members of the neighbors' club. Maria had been a lot more cheerful ever since she became the club's advisor. Kodaka said he had always thought Maria was naturally that cheerful. Kate explained that the only thing Maria ever really did was study. Her self-confidence was sky-high and she looked down on others. Things got even worse after she skipped grades. That's why Kate was thankful to Kodaka and to Maria's little vampire sister for being there. She also expressed gratitude to Yozora, who had pushed Maria out of her shell without giving her a chance to talk back. According to Kate, Yozora was the only person Maria couldn't manipulate. Kodaka understood. He hadn't expected anyone to be that thankful to Yozora. Kate added that it might have been a bit too much to force a little girl to run completely naked through the school. Kodaka apologized and promised it wouldn't happen again. Kate asked them to continue supporting each other, then called Kodaka Big Brother. Kodaka agreed, but also asked why she called him that. Kate explained that since Kodaka was Maria's big brother, he was basically her big brother too. She was only 15 after all. She then said goodbye. Unfortunately, as she walked away, she accidentally let out a fart and Kodaka saw it happen. Not long after that, Yozora called out to Kodaka. She said she thought he'd already gone to the club room. Kodaka admitted that he had just run into a weird person. Yozora mentioned that exams were over and that she heard some classmates comparing answers afterward. Kodaka said that in some places, that was still a thing people did. Yozora called it a waste of time, but added that if they ever made some real friends, they might end up doing it too. With that in mind, Yozora suggested they try comparing their answers now, just in case. Kodaka said he understood. Yozora then asked about question 4, part 3 from the math test. Math had been on the first day of exams and Kodaka couldn't even remember the question, let alone the answer. Unfortunately, that was the only question Yozora had doubts about. Kodaka asked her what the question was about. Yozora said it was a logic problem worth 15 points. Kodaka wasn't entirely sure and his answer was a bit long. From his point of view, it was kind of hard to determine whether their answers were right or wrong just by talking it through. Yozora thought it would be better if she had just admitted that the question was tough, or that she wasn't confident in her answer to begin with. When she asked whether the question had been difficult, Kodaka agreed that it had. Yozora then said she wanted to compare other questions, but Kodaka suggested they should stick to multiple choice questions, fill in the blank types, or ones they had just worked on that day. Yozora picked question 11, part 2, from Japanese history. Kodaka took another look at it. It was the one asking for the name of the Hauju family retainer who assassinated Judge Yasunori Adachi. Kodaka had answered with Yoritsuma Taira, and he felt pretty confident was correct. Yozora also knew that was the right answer, but pointed out that there was a chance she might have written Amy instead of Suna by mistake, and she hoped she had spelled it correctly. That made her unsure of what she had written earlier, and hearing that made Kodaka start to second-guess himself too. He realized that comparing answers could actually be pretty terrifying because it might shake your confidence in answers you had been sure of before. Yozora then brought up question 18, part 2. Kodaka said he had just guessed on that one. Suddenly, Sana chimed in, saying the answer was the year 1324. She walked over and asked if Yozora and Kodaka were comparing their answers. She said they should include hers in the mix, claiming they were lucky to have the chance to compare their answers with hers, because hers were perfect. Yozora told her to leave, saying she wasn't needed there. Sena was confused and asked why she was being shut out like that, then invited Yozora to compare answers with her directly. Yozora brought up math question 5, part 3. Sena confidently said the answer was 45. Kodaka was surprised that both of them could remember the answers just from the question numbers. Yozora walked away and Sena ran after her, asking her to throw more questions at her, even the hard ones. But Yozora just said that comparing answers with Sena wasn't fun at all. Instead, she said she would rather compare her answers with Tomo, her imaginary friend from the wind, and ignored Sena completely. That afternoon, Kobato was watching TV while Kodaka was cooking. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Kodaka asked Kobato to answer the door and told her that if it was someone from the newspaper agency, they didn't need anything. Right after that, he heard Kobato shout that they didn't need any. Kodaka figured it must be the newspaper agent, but when he went to check, he saw that Kobato was actually trying to stop Maria from coming into the house. Maria got excited and immediately jumped toward Kodaka. Kodaka was surprised to hear that she ran away. Maria explained that Kate kept forcing her to work, and she figured that since Kodaka was her big brother, he wouldn't make her do chores. Hearing that, Kate got annoyed and told Maria that she might as well just become Kodaka's child. Not long after, the phone rang. It was Kate calling. She told Kodaka that she didn't mind Maria staying at his place and asked him to take care of her for a few days. Kodaka was fine with it, especially since it was still school break, so he agreed to let Maria stay over. That night, Kodaka invited Maria and Kobato to have dinner together. Maria was amazed by how much food was on the table and even thought it looked like a Christmas celebration. Kobato called Maria a clueless church servant from another era and said that was exactly why she was sick of dealing with someone as lowly as Maria. When Kobato was about to grab some food, Maria slapped her hand away and told her to pray first. Kobato replied that she was a servant of the night and never worshipped anything. Kodaka reminded Kobato that if that's her belief, fine, but she should at least say let's eat before starting. Kobato gave in and said it, and Kodaka praised her for that. She then immediately started devouring the fried chicken. Maria quickly said her prayers so she could start eating too. Kobato pointed out that Maria hadn't finished praying yet, but Maria claimed she was just trying to rescue the chicken from an evil vampire like Kobato. The two of them started arguing and Kodaka couldn't believe they were fighting during dinner. Suddenly the phone rang again. Kodaka picked it up and it was Kate. She asked him what color his underwear was, which made Kodaka tell her to skip the small talk. Kate then asked if he had eaten. Kodaka said they were in the middle of dinner, and Kate asked him to remind Maria to finish her vegetables. When Kodaka returned to the table, his fried chicken was gone. He asked who ate it, and Maria and Kobato blamed each other. While washing the dishes, Kodaka asked Maria how she knew his address. Maria said Kate had brought her there. Kodaka pointed out that this wasn't exactly running away from home. Then the phone rang again. Kate was checking in to see if Maria had finished her vegetables. Kodaka told her that Maria had eaten all of them, which made Kate feel relieved, and she hung up right after that. Later that night, Kobato wanted to play video games with Kodaka, but Maria suddenly pointed out that the game Kobato was playing was actually an eroge. Kodaka quickly clarified that it was just a normal game and told Maria to give it a try. Maria and Kobato started playing together, but Kobato easily defeated Maria in no time. She said it was impossible for a low-level human like Maria to beat her. Maria kept trying but still couldn't win against Kobato. Kodaka reminded them that it was time for a bath. Maria immediately took off her clothes and tossed them at Kodaka before rushing to the bathroom. Just then, the phone rang again. It was Kate. Kodaka told her that Maria was currently in the bath. Kate asked him to remind Maria to scrub herself properly. Kodaka was confused about why Kate was so worried, but she didn't admit anything and hung up quickly. While Maria was bathing, Kodaka brought her a change of clothes from Kobato and reminded her to scrub thoroughly. While waiting, he played video games with Kobato. After finishing her bath, Maria came to Kodaka and said that the pajamas felt a bit tight, especially around the chest, and that might make it hard for her to sleep. Kobato got irritated and scolded Maria. Maria finally put on Kodaka's t-shirt, which made him incredibly happy. She was overjoyed and said that she and Kodaka had become one. Kobato challenged Maria to play a game again, and surprisingly, they played until late at night. Maria even fell asleep while playing. Kobato commented that Maria wasn't worthy of being her opponent and turned off the TV. At that moment, Maria's body was sprawled on the couch and Kobato glanced at her slightly exposed chest. Suddenly, Kodaka remarked that getting enough sleep was good for growth. Hearing that, Kobato quickly ran off to her room saying she needed to go to bed. Kodaka gently moved Maria to the bed and tucked her in with a blanket. Then Kate called again, asking whether Maria had fallen asleep. Kodaka jokingly asked if she was a cis, but Kate denied it and abruptly hung up. Not long after, she called back to ask if Maria had brushed her teeth. Feeling irritated, Kodaka turned off his phone and unplugged the line, thinking it would be too much trouble if Maria kept staying at his place. Even so, he still woke Maria up so she could brush her teeth. The next morning, Kate came to pick Maria up from Kodaka's house. She told Maria to apologize to Kodaka for causing him trouble, but Kodaka thought the one who had been troublesome was actually Kate herself. Kate thanked Kodaka, and Maria asked if she could sleep over again sometime. Kodaka didn't mind, but suddenly Kobato shouted that Maria shouldn't come over anymore. Kodaka was briefly confused and hoped Kobato would come to understand eventually. After that, Kodaka went back inside and scolded Kobato for playing video games so early in the morning. Kobato claimed she needed to train just in case Maria came back again. She declared her plan to make Maria kneel before her strength. That afternoon, Kodaka gathered with the neighbor's club in the clubroom. According to him, there was nothing else to do during the 3-day break. Yozora felt the same way and wondered what normal people did with their free time. Rika said she had read a manga where people celebrated after exams with a party called a Thanksgiving celebration.